All right, so our group 7 is Jack Astor, and this is our product, My House. So our project is a platform for tenants and landlords to find or lease units. And the features include browsing for listings, sharing documents, splitting bills within the house, and even a house group chat.
For our work distribution, we decided to have each functionality handled by one person. So for creating and splitting bills, this was done by Abby. Ben handled the creating of group discussions in a chat forum. Josh created the creating and viewing of listings. I handled the login and creating of accounts functionality. Cindy worked on sharing documents, so this included downloading, editing, and uploading them. And Daniel worked on adding notifications to our interface. For our timeline, we first met for the first time in week 3. We assigned team roles. By week 5, we decided on our project and its desired functions. Through weeks 6 and 8, we created use cases and diagrams, use case diagrams and sequence diagrams. We also designed our GUI. For each of the diagrams, we focused on our own functionality. So for example, I was working on login and create accounts. So I created the sequence and state chart diagrams for that functionality. And then in the final weeks, we added the functionality to our GUI and integrated all of our systems.
All right, so some challenges we faced were adapting to using sprints and to set tasks and deadlines while working on the project. But we were eventually able to utilize sprints in the end to effectively organize our workflow. Qt was actually quite difficult to get the hang of when coding the application functionality, but through working together, we were able to resolve the issues we had. We were also able to overcome the difficulty of not using a server and storing and retrieving information without a database. Another problem we encountered was to combine different parts of the program, as well as create an interface that would connect the program together. Although we uploaded our files to Bitbucket, we still needed to come together to make the program flow seamlessly.
So a few potential ideas we had that we did not have the time to implement are as following. Creating a server to sync all the data, such as logins, chat records, and listings. We felt this was out of the scope of the project as it would require money and someone maintaining the server. So we just decided to forget that and instead use files. Creating a more visually aesthetic interface would have been nice, but we figured we would probably need to either put someone solely on designing or hire a designer to do that ourselves. And that was, again, out of the scope of the project. Finally, creating customizable notifications, we just didn't quite have time for. So maybe that's something we could have worked on if we were given extra time.
For the libraries we mostly use Qt's integrated libraries. We use QMessageBox and QString abundantly.
Now for work left to do, if there's more time to work on the project, we would implement more features that would improve the usability and provide more functionality for the users. So to add more functionality, we could add features such as the ability to schedule maintenance. So right now the group chat is used to interact with the landlord to schedule things. But if there was a maintenance page implemented for the landlord, it would be more productive having all the requests in one place. Assigning chores would be another feature for a specific set of chores that could be done each week, the ability to be able to assign it to someone. And then finding housemates, that would be a post similar to posting a listing, but instead it would be a post for a search for people to live with. And then we could also implement automatic payments. This would actually complete the e-transfer when paying a bill. And then to improve usability, we could improve the visuals that would make the program easier to navigate and just better looking in general. And also implement the program as a mobile application to allow the users to access it easily.
Working as a team. Considering this was a group project, we spent most of our time working together. So now in order to coordinate all the moving parts involved with the software, we set up weekly group meetings over Zoom. We also had a few meetings in person as well. And in these meetings, we made sure to split up the workload as evenly as possible so as to not over encumber our group mates. Any communication related to the project outside of the meetings was occurring on Slack. Jira was also very useful for keeping track of any work that was needed to be done every week. Now, although there was a bit of a learning curve with the sprints, they allowed us to stay on top of all the deadlines needed to be met in order to complete the project on time. Although we enjoyed working together, there were a few times where maybe a group member might miss a meeting without notifying the rest of the team. So that was not ideal. This is something that we can always work on moving forward.
So while doing this presentation, it gave us an opportunity to reflect on these past 4 months and our collaborations with each other. While we had a great time working with each other, we admit we had our shortcomings within this project. We had some ideas of what we could have done differently if we could do this project again. First, we would have assigned someone to be in charge of the general visual interface. They would be responsible for creating a cohesive design for the rest of the team to follow. Another thing that would have improved with the presence of this role would have a more aesthetic user interface to improve user experience. Another thing we would have done would have been to create a more personalized user experience. For example, there would have been more different functionality between a tenant and landlord account. Another role we would have implemented was an integration lead so that they would be responsible and oversee any individual work to make sure we reach deadlines and we had an easier time combining the final project to create a final product. We also realized that at the beginning of this project, we had a very limited knowledge of Jira, Confluence, and Bitbucket, and that made it difficult to use these technologies properly and to the fullest extent. Towards the end of the semester, we had become more adept at using them, and we had a better time using these technologies to our advantage.
This is a demonstration of our interface. So if you were coming in as a new user, the first thing you would have to do is create an account. You can create as any username you want. So we can be user 12, for example, and then create a password. Say we wanted it to be 1234. It wouldn't allow this just because for security reasons, we want it to be at least 8 digits long. So we'd have to change it. We could do user 12 pass. And then you can also create a landlord or tenant type account. This just changes the interface a little bit to make it a little bit more user friendly. For this example, will be a tenant. And this will take you to our homepage. If we sign out, we can also log in as an existing user. So this user account was created previously. Once you're logged in, you can take a look at your files. So here are my files. Currently there are none, but we can add some. We can create a file and give it a file path. Let's see if it's in downloads. And we can send it to an existing user, Barb. We can change the date that we want them to look and edit the file. Let's make it December 1st. And then it'll show up on your files. And you can, once it's been edited and uploaded, we can change the status to complete. Going back to our homepage, the next function we have is bills. So here we have the bills that you owe and also the people in your house. So our housemates are Barb and Jim, and they both have an amount owing, and currently we aren't owed anything. So say we wanted to pay a bill, we could go like this. We owe $55 to Barb, so we can pay that bill, pay it successfully, and that gets taken off of the bills you owe list. And then say you went out and spent some money and wanted to split that bill between your house. You can use this function. If everyone owed, say, $12, you can assign this to all of your housemates and create a due date for them. Let's make it December 1st and submit the bill. Now to let you know what you are owed. Next, we have a group chat. So within your house, to find your chat, you'd simply have to enter in your address. And your name. My name is Ashley. Enter. This brings up any existing chats that you have between your house. For this example, Barb's asked if someone can clean the bathroom. I can say I can do it right now and post this to our chat forum. Next, we have listings. This is for all users to be able to view. This is for someone who's looking for a place to live. So this is all the listing and units available within the area. If you were a landlord, you could create a listing. Say it was at 123 University. And the rent was $800. We could make it 6 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. There's no utilities, but parking is included. Just as an example, and this would pop up on the listings window. We can also edit this listing we've just created if we put in the wanted to increase or decrease the rent or any of the other functions. And we can delete our listing, say if it got rented. Finally, we have notifications. So if you want to just quickly check your account and see if there's anything you need to check up on, you can pick right here what you need to be notified on. New listing. So there was a new listing added in the time that we weren't on this interface, and it'll let us know here. And then when you're done using our interface, you simply sign out of the application and you're done.